Aston?
You know, this team that we have right now is definitely a work in progress, and we talked just a few minutes ago about the fact that this was a journey and it's not the end of it right now. And first of all, I do want to credit Tennessee with, I thought, a really good performance. You know, we've watched a lot of film on them. They've been playing hard all year. They did some things that we saw on film, which were rebound the ball really well, transition really well, but I thought they shot the ball really well today, which at times, we made runs, we defended hard, and I thought they just made really tough shots, which, deflates a young team that struggles to score. But pleased with our second half effort as far as we tried to make runs, showed some ability to make plays and do things in the half court better in the second half. I thought again, we got ourselves in trouble sometimes by shooting too quick. But overall, you're never pleased with losing. We gave up way too many points. We're not going to be anybody giving up 90 points, but I do feel like that we responded after the UCLA game to playing a good basketball team.
Questions?
Coach, if you can talk about the second half, from about the 12:43 to about the 8:03, that was a run that you all made. It was an effort defensively and offensively to get things going and keep the fight going.
Well, that's where I thought we grew up a little bit from the UCLA game. It's not like we obviously Chaz helped us in this game tremendously, having her an older player with who understands this type of basketball game and how you have to go from play to play. I thought, Nneka was a lot better in the second half. And part of it was just that we got the ball into her in the second half. But just more than anything, it was mental. In the UCLA game, we just didn't fight at all, and I thought we kept fighting. We fought until the game was over with, and every time out they were engaged in what we were saying. They were talking to each other, encouraging each other, and that's a really good sign for this team, because I didn't see that a week ago, and in 1 week we made a lot of progress.
Coach, the shooting percentage was way down early. Was that more Tennessee defense, or you just not finding the flow?
Maybe just in too big of a hurry. We shot a couple of them over the goal, layups. So I think some of it was just being in too big of a hurry, shooting too quick, not really very quality shots in the first half at all. I thought we did not take advantage in the first half to their foul trouble. We came down, shot too quick. For the first time this year, it wasn't like we were turning it over, which is a good sign, but sometimes shooting too quick might as well be a turnover. And we shot too quick in the first half when we should have done a better job putting the ball inside, because they were undersized.
They got a lot of offensive rebounds, mainly early. How big a factor was Koki not being here, because she's the most experienced interior player you have?
Well, I think anytime you lose an experienced player, then you're going down to the next player that doesn't have as much experience, which is what we started with. We started two players that don't have a lot of Division I basketball experience. Nneka has the most, and she's a sophomore. So I have to look at every opportunity as one to watch people grow. This was a growing experience for Nneka and Amani, and I saw them grow up. Amani was better today than she was a week ago. Nneka has been consistent all year. But I will go back to the rebounding early in the game. We talked about that in the locker room just a minute ago, that I thought in the first 4 or 5 minutes we were defending really, really well. And they took bad shots, but then they got the rebound, which was where I felt like we could have gotten off to a better start. So that's a good observation, that was a difference.
Chaz, 2 questions in one. Comment on what it meant to come back after a few weeks off and to have such a good game yourself against, in your home state, against your home state, so to speak.
It was different, a lot different in practice, a lot faster than we've been going. I felt like in practice we should have went game speed instead of going, like Coach says, we go hard for an hour and then the next hour we don't go as hard. So that was a big challenge for me in the beginning of the game. And I went like 0 for 7. So it was a rough start, but once I got my flow, it was good.
And do you get more fired up looking at Lady Vols than any other team?
I mean, you know, I'm fired up for every game, and with my teammates' help, I mean, it keeps us all together.
Nneka, the coach has said that you and Imani may have grown up a little bit. You know what she means by that, and what do you learn from a game like this?
Having Koki out for this game, Imani was forced to step into her shoes and start and really bring big minutes and bring a big offense in her game as well. I feel like she empowered that role, me and her both, but we did lack on offensive rebounding in general. I feel like we could have done a better job on the inside rebounding.
The shooting percentage was low in the first half. Was that more Tennessee's defense, or you guys not having a hot hand early?
I think Tennessee brought a pretty tough defense against us, but I also feel like our shots just weren't falling for us. We were getting good shots, we were getting good position. Our shots just weren't going in.
Nneka, coach was talking about some of the positive from this game. What do you think about the way your team came back in that second half and made some runs against Tennessee?
I was very pleased with it because, as y'all probably saw in UCLA game, there wasn't a lot of energy. We weren't really cohesive with one another, and I feel like whenever we had the opportunity to come back as a team, there was a lot of camaraderie, and we stayed together and we fought together, and you could see that we were just more intact with one another.
Coach, could you speak to what Nneka just said about maybe the positions the shots they were getting and the positions they were getting the ball in, particularly there in the second half? Do you think if a couple of those had gone down, it might have gotten even more nervous for Tennessee? A couple of those were right around the time when you got it down to 10, I think.
They were, and you know, maybe we rushed them a little bit, and you know, some of it was some decision making where we were putting, I wouldn't even say the shots, but just, you know, when we've got in such a hurry wanting to hurry up and cut it, instead of maybe we've got to learn how to take a deep breath on the offensive end and get a really, really good possession. And I want to say more importantly, it was more about what we were doing on the defensive end. We could not get stops. I mean, all you have to do is look at how many points they scored. I mean, I felt like had we been able to make a couple of really critical stops. I mean, we cut it to 10, they call a timeout, they come out, hit 3. They did a really good job of attacking players individually, and we would get away from team defense. Afraid, you know, we talk about it a lot, how, you know, we're young, and sometimes these young players think that, okay, well, if my man doesn't score, I'm okay. And we just couldn't make stops when we really needed to. And had we been able to make it, and a couple of times we made stops and didn't get the rebound. So we could go back at some of those critical moments, and I'm not so sure it wasn't our shooting as much as it was the fact that we just couldn't make stops.
Their three-pointers, were they what really hurt? Because they haven't really relied on them as much to date, but yet they seem like they hit 3 or 4 there in the second half at key points. I mean, did those really hurt you, do you think?
No question. And we actually, because of the way they shot the ball in the first half, you know, we did try to change our defense a little bit, put a little more pressure on the ball in the second half, and they still, I mean, again, they made very tough shots. Very tough shots. I want to, you know, obviously, again, you want to credit them, and I really thought that the difference in the game was Spaney, you know, because we probably keyed on players that had been scoring points, but I really thought Spaney and Burdick were the difference at that 3-4 position, because we just couldn't seem to get a handle on what their tendencies were and what they did best. And you know, those two together scored, you know, basically 30 points. And that wasn't something I would say that we counted on. I think we counted on Megan scoring. I think we counted on Graves doing what she does, because she's been really consistent with what she does. But those two together were pretty good.
Any last questions for Texans?
Coach, talk about the stability that Chaz brings to the team, just not only offensively, but just being on the floor. And it seemed like every time that she scored, the defense would step up, and the team was more motivated by that.
Just experience. I mean, obviously, she can score, no question about that. And I want her to continue to, you know, I think if we can continue to grow offensively, and they can realize probably what our best 2 weapons are offensively, which are the ones sitting at the table right now, if our players can learn and grow as we go along and figure out that if you can get these two guys in some two-man games and things like that, I think we can be hard to defend. We just haven't quite figured that out yet, how to do that as well as we need to. But she just brings experience more than anything. I mean, just the only experienced guard we have. I mean, you know, we talk about it a lot, how we get frustrated at times with what they do and how they are every day in practice, but we really, I mean, she's the only player that played Division I basketball last year at the guard position, so you take her off and you're dealing with a bunch of pups. And you know, these two have got a lot on them, and I appreciate their efforts. I appreciate what they bring to the table every day, because there's a lot of responsibility on these two right here to try to help our team grow.
All right. Thank you, ladies.